Hello, I'm Glenda with Fralins and Friends, and tonight I'm going to put you in class, and I'm your teacher. We're going to do Weird Word World. Something I haven't done for a while, but it's always been fun. I am taking slang from the 1920s, and I hope you get a good laugh out of it, but I'll give you a little background about the 1920s first. I'll be back. 1920. Okay, by then, World War I was over. Our men were back. The influenza outbreak or pandemic that killed so many people had run its course. People were wanting to have fun. They were wanting to get back to a lively lifestyle. The one thing that was impeding some of them, depending on what their preference or their way of living was the temperance leagues and the ultra-conservatives had been bugging the government for years to prohibit the sales of spirits or liquor within the United States. They finally won their case. And I think it was like 1920 to 1933. It was illegal to sell or distribute alcohol within the United States. So I guess the word got out it was coming because a lot of those who could afford it had it shipped in and by the bunch loads before it went in But for everybody else, there's the speakeasy. 1920s developed speakeasies, which were private underground clubs, or maybe in somebody's garage or whatever, that were protected from the government by henchmen. Some of your biggest known names of the time were Al Capone and those. Okay, so the speakeasy was like a club underground. Women, instead of wearing their hair long and put up, were wearing it bobbed and short right about here. And they were wearing their dresses short, and it was a flapper dress. It was all about having the fun and going against the grain. But that's only a little bit of it. There was a lot of stuff, but some of that has nothing to do with what I have here. But I just wanted you to know a little something about the 1920s because our generation studied it. My grandparents they were born then. And now for Weird Word World. Finally. So, an icy mitt. No, it wasn't a cold hand. It meant somebody was giving you the cold shoulder. If you had a crush on somebody and they didn't really love you back, they were an icy mitt. Or they gave you the cold shoulder or the icy mitt. A blue nose. That was kind of what you called a party pooper. People in the speakeasies would have called anybody who tried to dampen their fun a blue nose. Iron your shoelaces. If you said, I have to go iron my shoelaces, that simply meant I have to go to the bathroom. They didn't say things like restroom, bathroom, girls' room, any of that. Anything that referred to that, they would say, I have to go iron my shoelaces. Excuse me, please. Berries. It was like saying that something was really cool. Like today was, oh man, that's cool. So, later, like in the 30s, 40s, they would say something was the bee's knees, which I don't know why, but it still meant that it was really cool. Know your onions meant the same as Know what you're talking about. You should always know what you're talking about before you say something about it. Yes, I did my research. It still doesn't explain why my grandmother, this is a true story, she didn't think she could have ice cream without onions without getting sick. She thought the ice cream would make her sick unless she ate the onions. Why? I don't know. I think it was something she put two and two together at some point. Just a little bit of info. Don't take any wooden nickels. Had nothing to do with the wooden nickels they sell in the souvenir shops today. It means don't do anything stupid. Which, by the way, taking a wooden nickel, which would be worth less than a penny, would be kind of a stupid thing to do. Okay. Bimbo. Don't you call me a bimbo. I'm not a buff, tough-looking guy, which is what it meant then. No, it did not mean it was a undesirable girl or boy or it didn't mean anything like what you hear or we heard on Laverne and Shirley or Happy Days or any of those shows where they would say somebody was a bimbo, which just meant that they didn't like him, basically. I think it had another meaning, but I don't know exactly what it was. But in the 20s, it meant that it was a tough or muscular-looking man. Nerds. Nerds. No, it meant, that's amazing. You imagine? Words change. A dewdropper? No, it wasn't somebody who went to the Dewdrop Inn. I think every town, not this one, but a lot of towns have bars they call the Dewdrop Inn. I don't know why. But this is spelled D-E-W, dropper. A dewdropper was a lazy man. I suppose it could be used on a woman too, but it was a man's world back then. By the way, it was the age of women trying to gain the right to smoke. Because women had been trying to get the vote for a long time. They had been trying to get they could become lawyers, but nobody would hire them as a lawyer. They'd hire you as a legal secretary. So the ones who did actually get to practice law were the lucky ones. They were probably the ones who made their way into that world, pushed their way through. But no, they did not allow, women were allowed to smoke, but it was not considered ladylike. There were a lot of things not considered ladylike. So it's not considered lady or manly these days, but in the 1920s, women were trying to exert themselves, the style of dress changed, the style of everything. And so advertisers with tobacco products, they were trying to say, hey, women could smoke too. So women were going around with these, remember those long tapered things? Well, you probably would have only seen them in old movies. They were a long tapered thing that you would put a cigarette in and a woman would smoke it delicately. Later, I remember like in the 70s, they were Virginia Slims. It was a woman's cigarette. This was before we knew that it caused lung cancer. However, they did have a word called Gasper, and it meant cigarette. Now you know where I was going with all that. You mind your potatoes. Mind your own business. Go chase yourself. Get out of here. Beat it. Go away. Jake. If you told somebody, I'm Jake, it wasn't your name. Or if it was, sorry, you might need to explain that. It meant, I'm fine, or it's all good. I'm okay. I'm copacetic. And therefore you have your history lesson and your slang from the 1920s. So, if somebody calls you a dewdropper, it simply means you're lazy. Sorry. And if someone says they're going to go iron their shoelaces, means they need to use the patio room. Oh. Go mind your own potatoes. I don't know why they made these up. No more than we know why words today mean what they do. A lot of the slang, that is. So I think over time, I'm going to go through each decade and separate the slang and get to know what it might have meant then is not what it means now. So anyway, have fun. This is Glenda with Fralins and Friends. Please do subscribe, click the notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Who knows what I'll do tomorrow? Oh, I have an inkling, but you don't. We'll see you then. Love you all, and please do remember to give me that thumbs up. In fact, start them all out with that. Good night. Love you all.